What up YouTube? Welcome to FTM for the music. My name is Lucas Charlie Rose and I'm about to introduce you to some of the most talented people in the transmasculine community. I just want to start off by saying that we are always looking for new artists to feature on the show. If you identify as trans, if you present as masculine, doesn't matter if you use he or they pronouns, if you're binary or not, as long as you make music and you got something for us to listen to, it doesn't have to be professional, it doesn't have to be original work, you can send us an email at forthemusic.ftm@gmail.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. For this first show, we have an incredible lineup. Like, I'm blown away by how amazing this first show is gonna be. This show is gonna be published in two parts. The first part this week, obviously, and the second part next week. So make sure to tune in next Wednesday for another episode. And since I want you guys to have new videos twice a week, every Friday we will post videos of transmasculine artists performing music for you. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. So I want to introduce our guests this week. First is Lucas Silveira, the frontman of The Clicks. The Clicks is a Canadian band that's been around for almost a decade, which was founded by Lucas Silveira, and the only former member of the band that's left is himself. The latest album they released was called Black Tie Elevator and came out in 2013. If you checked our Facebook page, then you probably saw the music video for Savannah that I posted last week. If not, you should probably go check it out right now because it's really good. And the second artist we got is Trey Washington. He's a hip-hop artist and rapper on the label Common Sense Entertainment. His first single dropped like a month ago on the Common Sense page. It's called Can't Stop Me. You guys should go and check that out too before you watch the interview. You know, get a feel of what their music sounds like, and then we're gonna get right into the topic. Did you listen to the music? It's good, right? So the first question that we wanted to ask you, how did your transition affect your music? Because both of you guys have been making music since before your transition, and from what I heard, in Lucas's case, you were actually hesitating about taking hormones at first because you thought it was gonna damage your voice, and you were scared that it was gonna impact your music career in a bad way. Can you talk to us more about that?
Well, a few things. First off, it was sort of between my lived experience as a trans person and also being a musician and a singer. So essentially two worlds sort of collided, and I think the first part of it was that I felt like I was living a double life in the sense that I was being he'd and called Lucas in the world that I lived in, and then walking into other worlds and being she'd because I wasn't on testosterone. And also then going into a studio and recording albums and hearing this voice coming back that I didn't recognize, and I felt like everything I was doing just didn't sound authentic. So the reason I was reluctant in the beginning was because I was told I would lose my voice, and that was not something that I could negotiate because primarily in the world I feel like I'm a singer. And so when I started seeing all these videos online of guys sharing their vocal transitions, it gave me the courage to do that, and I actually reached out to a lot of them, and many of them shared sort of like how they did it and the dosages of testosterone that they took, and they told me, you know, sort of, I guess, you know, the way to go about it. And I took vocal lessons for the first time in my life as I was going through it, and yeah, it worked out.
I started doing music whenever I was in like 8th grade. Way pre-transition. I didn't start transitioning until 2012. So in 8th grade, you know, I was still writing, recording songs, and I was still good at it, and you know, I was still proud of my work, but whenever I would listen to it back, I was embarrassed. Like, I was embarrassed of the way that I sounded, and like, I really liked the lyrics, I really liked the song, I really liked the work, but I didn't want other people to hear it because the second I heard my voice, it was just like, I don't know, it just made me feel like shit, you know, because I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it sounded like it should. So transitioning definitely gave me more confidence in my music because I finally feel like I sound how I always feel like I should have sounded. And you know, when I'm in the studio and I'm rapping, it comes out exactly how I want it to. So transitioning really affected my my music in a positive way.
Do you think that hip-hop is ready for a transmasculine artist?
I don't think society is ready for transmasculine individuals, period. But for real though, actually, yeah, I think that if me or myself or any transmasculine artist were to blow up and gain, fame, I think that it would be a good thing. I think that there would be plenty of people that were being supportive, and believe it or not, I do actually think there is a popular trans artist already, and he gets tons of support. So yeah, I think they're ready.
Next question is for Lucas. Can you tell us, as a trans musician, what are the obstacles that you face?
Well, first I'd like to say I'm not a trans musician, I'm a musician. And that's exactly one of the barriers that I face, is that people don't see me as a musician, they see me as a trans musician or a trans songwriter. And I think that as soon as you label somebody like that, you take away the universal appeal that that person has to be able to communicate their art form. I think that, when you put labels like that, people think, oh, I'll never be able to understand that person's music because I won't be able to relate. And that's one thing. I think that that's a really fundamental thing as far as the artistry goes and an audience goes. As far as the music industry goes, I'd love to sit here and tell everybody, some nice flowery story about how if you just keep, going at it, that everything will be fine. That's not the way it is, and it's not the way it is because we're not in the time yet where we are post, a trans movement. We are still in the midst of it. In fact, we're very, very early in sort of the process of trying to get trans people just acknowledged as being, regular functioning members of society. There's still stigma on people like us that we're mentally ill, and, with this whole bathroom issue that, trans women are actually just pedophiles, like ridiculous things like that we have to fight. So the fact that I haven't moved beyond a certain point as a trans musician with all of the actual mainstream success that I've had access to and the people who I've been around and tours that I've done, the fact that I haven't moved beyond that is not because I haven't tried. It's not, not to give myself a pat on the shoulder here, but it's not because I don't have the music to support that. It's because of transphobia. It's because people in the music industry don't want to associate themselves with something that they think is so weird or a little bit out there. I think it's getting better. I think people like Laverne Cox, for example, are sort of, putting that out there that this is something that can be done, that trans people are, artists and actors and singers and songwriters and musicians like everybody else, but we have barriers right now that I think aren't going to be pushed down in many, many years. And it makes me sad to say that, but at the same time, I think that as a trans person, I have to accept that in my time, because if I don't, I'm going to keep battling something that is just going to keep knocking me down, and why keep doing that? So I do the best that I can, and I just keep moving in directions that I think will, be helpful to me as an artist and supportive to me as an artist.
This is the last question for this week. Do you have any advices for young trans guys who want to make music?
Oh, that's such a hard question. Do I have advice for young trans guys? You know what? All I can say is this. The world already as a trans person is difficult. The world as a person in the music industry without being trans is difficult. Just prepare yourself for things that will happen. They will happen, especially right now. I'm hoping in the future these things won't happen, but you most likely, outside of your own community, won't be taken very seriously as an artist, and your art will always be equated as something that comes from somebody who's queer. It's not just like a life experience of a human being. So the only advice I guess I can give people is just be strong and, grow a thick skin and try to not let those people inside. Because I certainly have, and it really, really hurts, and it can be really detrimental to your mental health, and it can be very detrimental to your career because you'll feel like you're heading nowhere. So, it's hard because I think what ends up happening is a lot of trans people and queer people in general feel more an acceptance within their own community. So what ends up happening is they end up sticking to that community and then within their audience never growing outside of it. And it's not for lack of trying sometimes. Sometimes they do try and it's just not very accepting. So I think, yeah, grow a thick skin. Always be yourself. Always be real to yourself. Don't ever sort of move away from that. But at the same time, just be aware that your challenges are probably much greater than, you know, a cisgendered males would be. And they're, you know, and just even being a cisgender male in the music industry is difficult in itself just because you're a person in the music industry. But yeah, I'm not trying to be negative, I'm just trying to be realistic and not to set up people for you know, walking into things and expecting everything to be magical and beautiful, because it's not. It's just the reality of our lives these days.
Do I have any words for aspiring trans masculine artists? Just do you, for real. Like, if you do it, if you write music just because you need to get something off your chest, if you're writing music for fun, if you're recording for fun, if you're trying to get somewhere with it, whatever the case may be, just do you. Don't let nobody tell you that, oh, you can't get where you need to. Nah, do you, you know?
I want to thank both of our guests today for being a part of our pilot. I'm really excited for what this show is going to do, and I'm excited to watch it grow, and I hope that you want to contribute to that. Remember that if you make music, we want you in this show, so send us an email with your music, a little bit about yourself, and we'll get back to you as soon as you can. If you don't make any music, share this with your friends who make music. If they're trans masculine, we want them. Every week we're gonna ask you guys to answer a question in the comment section, and I will read some of the answers next week. So this week's question is, which song describes your journey best? It doesn't matter which artist it's from, it doesn't matter which language. If you think that the song is a song that was written about you, just the person that wrote it didn't know it was about you, then put it in the comment section below. Make sure to tune in Friday to see amazing performances by both Lucas and Trey, and yeah, bye.
Baby girl, let me talk to you for a minute. Your body's making perfect smile, you got me thinking different. I'm reminiscing, got me thinking about kissing your lips and sway your body against mine while I'm gripping your hips. I know you feeling me, don't worry about these